What's up, guys? Ian here, coach of your Ladner Lanturn, bringing you guys our Week 4 Team Builder taking on Arf and the Real Magikarp in Hive Kakuna. We're both 0-3, so someone is coming out with a win finally in this matchup here. His team consists of Ferrothorn, Suicune, Mienshao, Galvantula, Electros, Claydol, Mega Charizard X, Sylveon, Umbreon, Uxie, and Trigalgi. There's not a lot of speed on this team. There's some webs from Mega Charizard X, and there's a lot of fat. Really fat team with some medium hitters, not like hard hitters, but some medium hitters. Priority options, he's got the Galvantula with Sucker Punch, and that's it. So it's a slow team. Well, Umbreon with Sucker Punch too, but it's a slow team without very much relevant priority. Mienshao gets Fake Out, Sylveon gets Quick Attack, I know, but none of it's relevant. Hazard setting, Ferrothorn with Rocks, and Spikes, sorry. Galvantula with Webs, Claydol with Rocks, Trigalgi with Toxic Spikes, and Uxie with Rocks. Removal options, the Claydol with Rapid Spin, and Charizard X with Defog, and then 4x weaknesses is just the Ferrothorn to Fire. I don't really expect Electros or Claydol to come. I think there are more pressing matters in this game. I think Trigalgi doesn't make a lot of sense either. It could come as a breaker, but it loses to a lot of my offense, so it doesn't make a ton of sense to bring here. Umbreon could also be argued for the same reason. I think Zardex, Ferrothorn, Suicune, Galvantula, and Mienshao are all coming 100%, and then probably Sylveon in the last slot. That would be what I would imagine. Not entirely sure how that one will play out, but that's what I would imagine at the very least. This team is actually very weak to Mega Beedrill. Mega Charizard X is like the best resist to Mega Beedrill on this team, so that is a fun fact there. Starting on my team, first thing I've got here is a relatively defensive Lanturn that sort of beats Ferrothorn to an extent. Over time, it'll beat Ferrothorn. It depends if he brings Heal Bell or not on the Sylveon, because this could be really bad otherwise, but I think Soak is valuable, at least against the Charizard X as well. So I'm running Heal Bell, Volt Switch, Toxic, and Soak. It's more of a Spadefmon meant for dealing with Suicune. In most cases, I can deal with the Suicune, like take a hit from the Suicune and then get out, but it's also there for the Galvantula, so I can like soak the Galv and then Toxic it, and I always chew Thunders and whatnot that maybe something like Crobat wouldn't be enjoying. And Heal Bell is for the spammable Toxic on his side as well against my team, so I want to have Heal Bell for my Serp as well as my own Lanturn. Now, very Spadef, I'm running a little bit of defense. You don't need a ton of HP on Lanturn because it's already got a huge HP stat, so bulking up the defenses is a little bit better. And Crobat is next. I'm running a more defensive-ish Crobat with Taunt, Brave Bird, Roost, and U-Turn. I don't think I actually do anything to Galvantula, but this beats Ferrothorn, kind of. In a lot of cases, it beats Ferrothorn. Gyro Ball is obviously still a problem, but it can taunt the Ferrothorn from setting up hazards. I don't know, that's the whole point of it. Maybe I should look through and see if I'm actually running Defog on anything, because it's probably valuable enough that I should run Defog on my Crobat. But Roost U-Turn there. I'm running a little bit of speed here to outspeed Galvantula. So I do outspeed the Galvantula, and I can like U-turn it on. I don't know. If there's a Mienshao, I would not expect the Galvantula to be Scarf, so I might actually just stay in right off the bat and U-turn. But this is, in theory, my Mienshao resist as well, so I gotta be a little bit careful with it. Superior is next. I am running Defog Serp. Okay, so I don't have to replace anything on the Crobat, but Defog Serp is pretty important here. I'm iffy on if he's even going to bother bringing webs against me. He might not, but if he does, he's boosting my speed, so that's something. I just realized I'm not really going to be able to hit the Coon with this. I'm not sure what my plan to deal with Suicune was, to be honest. Like, Infiltrator Crobat, but how was I beating... How was I beating Coon with this set? I don't know why I have the set the way that it is, and I may just have to edit it, like... I don't know if I have time right now to edit it, but I'll edit it before the battle. So, Glare, Defog, Knockoff, and Leech Seed, it was just physical with Knockoff. Why? Why? I guess, in theory, right, Leaf Storm just gets PP stalled out by Suicune because I only have 4 of them, so Leaf Storm's not the best idea in the world here, but potentially Giga Drain is just, like, better, is it not? Or even Energy Ball, if I had to. Giga Drain probably, though. Glare, Defog, Giga Drain, Leech Seed instead. Just like, I don't know. I feel like this isn't that bad, but this is also it's beating Galvantula. I mean, Giga Drain's not really doing anything to that, so potentially Giga Drain and Dragon Pulse over Leech Seed and Knockoff. I think that's probably a fair trade-off, actually. And then we'll move this, and we'll make it timid. There. Okay, cool. Fix that set. That's good. Victini's next. Expert Belt set. This slams a lot of this team, actually. V-Create switch-ins are Mega Charizard X and Suicune. And the more that Zardex is switching in, the better for me, because it cannot run heavy-duty boots, and I'm planning to get rocks as soon as I can. V-Create just demolishes a lot of stuff, and I'm not banded, so I can click like Bolt Strike afterwards if I really wanted to. I can't imagine there's a world where the Suicune isn't going to outspeed me the next turn, though, so I got to be careful about that. U-turn puts on a lot of pressure against something that would ever want to switch in, like Zardex. Excuse me. I can always U-turn and Terrakion on the Zardex fairly freely. Zen Headbutt is just more of a neutral hit for everything that isn't Ferrothorn, which I pretty much have to V-Create, and Suicune, which I pretty much have to Bolt Strike. So I'm speed tying Charizard, I'm fully physically offensive, so we're just Jolly Max, and that is Victini. Beedrill, U-turn, Poison Jab, Fell Stinger, Brick Break. I'm running Fell Stinger again. It's not the win con this time, but it could be, I guess, in theory. There's not a ton that I can Fell Stinger to death, but Fell Stinger is a reasonable stab in a situation where I don't have to U-turn. Poison Jab's really effective at just dealing with Sylveon. This pretty much breaks Sylveon and Umbreon together, so I don't expect both of them to come. I really only expect one. If I had to guess, it would be the Sylveon, but the Umbreon is definitely a viable option to deal with Hoopa and Tapu Lele to an extent, because obviously both of them have good ways of dealing with the Umbreon in coverage, but Lele's also got the stab options, so we'll see if Sylveon even comes because of Duraludon. I'm not sure. Where was I going with this? I'm outspeeding something. I'm outspeeding Galvantula, so most of my team outspeeds Galvantula, and then Victini's tying Charizard X. Terrakion next is actually also outspeeding Galvantula, just before I forget. I get to run a ton of bulk, and I get to be adamant. That's pretty much what this game leaves for me. I can't really outspeed any relevant Scarfers, so there's not really a point in speed creeping any of those. I break like Claydol, Uxie, Umbreon, Sylveon really well. I break the Galvantula really easily. Break the Electros really easily, Revenge kill the Mienshao really easily, I can switch into High Jump Kick if I really have to. You know, I Revenge kill Charizard X without a Dragon Dance up pretty easily. Ferrothorn and Suicune are a little bit harder to deal with, but they both take a ton of damage because I'm adamant. And if I can Fell Stinger something, then I might be sitting pretty. I've got Brick Break on there just in case there's some sort of weird screens shenanigans with Uxie or Umbreon or Sylveon or Claydol. And it's also a secondary way for me to hit the Ferrothorn if I do happen to get up a Fell Stinger, because a +3 Fell Stinger probably wouldn't deal enough damage to it, but Brick Break probably would. So this is a secondary win con, but realistically the win con this game is Scarf Terrakion cleaning late game. Close Combat, Stone Edge, Rocks, and Mega Horn. It kind of sucks that I have to rely on Stone Edge. Why do I have to rely on Stone Edge again? Oh, because Sylveon exists. Although, I do have other ways of dealing with Sylveon. I don't necessarily have to do this, because I can always Toxicate with like Lanturn or something. So maybe I swap out Stone Edge for Earthquake. I'm not entirely sure how I feel about that one. Stone Edge is a bit better against some Mons. It's better against the Charizard. I need Stone Edge to be able to Revenge kill the Charizard. Like, Earthquake's not going to do it, so I'll probably try and chip it with something before being put in a position where I have to close combat. Rocks are pretty important in this game. Mega Horn is there in case the Uxie and the Claydol come, because they're both close combat resists, but I don't really anticipate that I'm going to have to click Mega Horn in this game. And I'm speed tying the Galvantula. That's what I was doing. Speed tying the Galvantula, max attack. In terms of what's not coming, actually I guess I'll explain a little bit more. Terrakion is designed to be this way so that I can outspeed a Mega Charizard X at +1 after a Dragon Dance, which is pretty much how you have to prep for Mega Charizard X. I don't have the best switch-ins to it in the entire world, so I have to play a little bit defensively around that. But the idea is to get a Glare off with Serp, and that's kind of Serp's only job. Defensively, the only possible check I could possibly have is Blastoise, and Mudsdale, I guess. I could have brought Mudsdale, actually, to wall that, and that would have been kind of okay. It just brings in Suicune really easily, which I don't want to do. So I'm going with a little bit more of an offensive approach there. Lele and Hoopa are not coming. Reason for that is, I don't know. Ferrothorn for Lele, probably. The fact that Zardex just outspeeds it, and Webs are probably going to come anyways. I just didn't really see that Lele had the best breaking matchup in this game, so I didn't really see a point in it. Same with Hoopa. And Galvantula and Mienshao, one of them is going to be Scarf for Hoopa, and it'll either kill it with Bug Buzz or kill it with U-Turn from the Mienshao, so I definitely would expect that. Sylveon, giant problem for the Hoopa as well. Needs to run Gunk Shot. Would not be surprised if this is a Kebia Berry. Sylveon, Duraludon just seems to almost never have a matchup. This is one game where it actually potentially could have a matchup. Because it can still tank hits from Zardex and Mienshao, just because of how physically bulky it is. But I didn't really feel comfortable bringing it in this game, mainly because I think Sylveon still can deal with it relatively okay, and lots of Mons get just special fighting coverage, things like Dragology with Focus Blast, Claydol with Earth Power, things like that. Just make it a little bit harder. This is probably one of the matchups where it could have come, and it's honestly just kind of dead weight at this point, but if I get rid of it, I don't have a Dragon, and I don't have a Steel anymore, so I probably should have just prioritized something else instead of going for the new Mon. And I might be looking into free agency after this week anyways, because if I need to pick stuff up, then I'm going to have to go into free agency. Mudsdale, I just talked about, probably could come. Same with Blastoise. Blastoise, I'm a little bit more iffy on. Keeps my rocks up with Spin, but it brings in Ferrothorn and Suicune, which is a yikes, and it has a really hard time offensively this game, so I didn't want to bring a Smash set, and it would have had to been like physically defensive for Charizard. It could probably still work with like a Toxic set or something like that, but bringing in Galvantula is not necessarily something I want to always do, and that's why Lanturn is here instead of Blastoise, is because it's a Galvantula, a proper Galvantula resist that the rest of the team was lacking. This team is just pretty weak to Galvantula with like Energy Ball, Thunder, and Bug Buzz and Webs, so I would be worried about that. That is going to be for me. I don't think I said I had anything to do with the team, so that is, yeah, that's going to be for me, and I'll catch you guys for the match.